unísono. Acompáñenos a recibir a Tom Brady. Se requiere un gran presentador para entrevistar al GOAT. Tenemos nada más y nada menos que al gran Toño de Valdés. Un fuerte aplauso para GOAT. Thank you, man. Such an honor to be for us that you are here. Welcome to Mexico.
Thank you.
This is your house.
How you guys doing? Thank you for being here. What an incredible event. And it's nice to meet a lot of the people backstage. But I love being able to come out here and share my story with a lot of you guys who are looking to achieve great things in your life. And I love being in Mexico City. I had a game here 6 years ago. I had the time of my life. So thank you for welcoming me. And I'm sure we're going to have a great time. Thank you.
Bueno, pues qué gusto saludarlos a todos. Yo sé que la gran mayoría son súper admiradores de Tom Brady y de los Patriotas de Nueva Inglaterra o de los Bucaneros de Tampa Bay también, por supuesto, en donde consiguió ese séptimo anillo de Super Bowl. Y 6 years ago you were here.
6 years ago, in 2017.
But you beat my Raiders.
I did. Happily, actually. That was one of our better games, and we had a great time here. I know we came to this country and felt the love of the fans and all the energy and the excitement, so there's nothing better than going on the road and winning. It felt like kind of a home game for us. They were cheering for us in the second half of the game quite a bit, and we had the best flight home. So, all in due part because we won and because of all the amazing support here in Mexico City.
And playing in the Azteca Stadium.
What a stadium! It was incredible. I know it's such a national stadium, so many great games have been played there, but I loved being in, we called it Stadium Azteca, is that right?
Estadio Azteca.
Either way.
Yeah.
But it was very fun. We had a great time. The elevation was a little difficult, you know, because we're playing at this high elevation, but it was an incredible day. I know because we had a little trick that game. Because the elevation was so high, we knew they'd be tired. We tried to go really fast early in the game. The problem was, all our guys got exhausted too. So it worked both ways.
Yeah, I'm sure of that. Besides that visit to play,
yes.
How many times have you been in Mexico?
I've been to Mexico a lot. I was explaining to my friend on the way down, when I was 19 years old, I went to Cancun for a spring break. It was great. I've been to Acapulco before. Unfortunately, my prayers and thoughts are with everyone in Acapulco. I've been to Cabo San Lucas quite a bit, so I love Mexico. I great people, and I love you all.
Tom, 23 years in the NFL. 23 years in the NFL.
Yes.
The average for a player in the NFL is 2.5 years.
Yeah.
That's a big accomplishment.
Yes.
How did you do that?
How did I play 23 years?
Yeah.
A lot of good luck, and I threw the ball very fast so no one could hit me. I actually, there's a lot of reasons why I was able to do something that I love to do for a long period of time. And I hope that a lot of you in your careers, in your profession, the children out there get an opportunity to do something that they love to do for a long period of time. You've been a sports journalist for over 40 years.
Yeah.
It's incredible to find something in your life that is a true purpose and a blessing for you, because when you find that, you want to work hard at something. And if you find something you love and you work hard, I have no doubt that you'll be good at it. And I was a young boy growing up in California, and I had dreams like a lot of other young kids in America and Mexico, that you want to grow up and you want to play sports and you want to compete and you want to have fun with your friends. And unfortunately, very few people get a chance to do that. But I was never discouraged by the fact that there were long odds to make it there. I was never discouraged by the fact that not many people get an opportunity to do that. So when I finally did get a chance to make it to the NFL after a lot of work, I made sure it was going to last as long as possible. I never thought it would last 23 years. Yes. I'll say that. But that was because a lot of amazing people came into my life that supported me. Certainly my family, my friends, my coaches, my teammates, my agents, all the people that supported me in this incredible dream to play sports. And as much as I felt like, and you guys might feel that I gave to sports, sports gave so much back to me. Being a part of a team and being a part of a community, being a part of winning organization and impacting people in positive ways. And now that I get to do that in the next aspect of my life, I feel very excited about what's ahead. So there was a big chapter in my life that closed when I decided to stop playing, and I know that there's other chapters to write, and I'm very excited about the future.
Tom, I'm sure that if you decide that you can still be playing this year in the NFL. I'm sure.
Yeah, probably. But I think for me at home, I have a 16-year-old son. He likes playing sports. I have a 13-year-old. He caught his first touchdown pass last week. I was the most excited person probably in the world. At that moment, I was so happy for him. I have a little daughter, and my time needs to go to other places. Like all of us, we have different priorities at different times in our life, and I think for me, deciding 23 years is enough, and it's not because I don't love it. I still love it. I'm going to continue to be involved in sports. I feel like sports bring our communities together. I believe that they bring the best out in us as individuals, and watching the Mexican national soccer team, I love watching the spirit, the energy of them. So it's just, sports are incredible for all of us in our life, and I feel very fortunate to do it for as long as I did.
And now, as a businessman with the Raiders, right? You know that I am a Raider fan.
I know, you told me that. You told me that. Yeah. You know, I've been very fortunate. I was obviously a part of the Patriots for 20 years, and I loved my experience there. I had the most amazing time, and I really learned how to grow up. You know, when I was drafted by the Patriots in the year 2000, I was a 6th-round pick. Many of you guys probably know that, which is way down on the list. Like, there's the number 1 pick, and then there's 199. That's a long ways away. And when they drafted me, I grew up in California, and they said, "Congratulations, you've been selected by the New England Patriots." I didn't even know where New England was. However, you guys probably don't know where New England is because it's not even a state. It's 6 states that they call New England, and I was actually, you know, the team was in Massachusetts, and when I went there, I really grew up, and I arrived as a 22-year-old. You know, you're a long ways from home. It's a long ways from California. There's not a lot of, you really had to embrace the people and the surroundings and all my teammates. And I was very fortunate that I came into this amazing system where we had a great coaching staff, great group of players that had a great desire to win and great desire to compete. And I played there over a long period of time, and at the end of 20 years, I decided that I still wanted to continue to play, but my football journey was going to take me somewhere else, and it took me to Tampa, Florida, which I had an amazing 3 years there where I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about other teams and other situations, different adversities. And then I retired, and I was very fortunate to be a part of a group that is potentially going to be involved in the NFL going forward with the Raiders. So I'm not there yet. I hope to be there, and there's a little bit of a process that's taking place. But the best part is I get to be involved in the NFL, and I get to be involved in sports, because I love teamwork, and I love commitment, and I love dedication, and I love seeing people get the most out of themselves. And when you have a group of people and a community of people, whether that's a sports team or a business or a church or a neighborhood that can come together for a common goal, magical things can happen. And that's ultimately what life's about.
You have to be very happy for Bill Belichick. He just got his 300 career victory in regular season last Sunday.
It's another, amazing achievement, by Coach Belichick. 300 victories in the NFL. I think there are 2 or 3 people that have done that. Maybe 3 people. Yeah. So he's the 3rd, and he's still marching on. And I think it's a tribute to his hard work and his commitment that he's given to the game. He's been in the NFL a long time, not only as a head coach, but as an assistant coach. And there's no way I would have been the player that I was if it wasn't for him and his leadership and his guidance. And you know, he was a very tough coach because he held you accountable every day. And if you didn't perform to your very best, he would let you know that. He would say, Brady, don't ever expect me to pat you on the back for doing your job. You know, he wanted to see the best I could do. Every day in practice, every game. He wanted to see the best that we could bring out of the players. Not average, not above average. If he thought you had potential to be great, he wanted you to be great. And if you weren't, then he was going to let you know it. And that was a great lesson for me in sports and for business as I move on into other parts of my life. You should have high expectations for the people that have the opportunities to succeed at the highest level. Not many people have those opportunities to lead businesses. Not many people have the opportunities to lead sports teams or to be a great journalist. So when you have that opportunity that so few get, you cherish that opportunity. You see that as a responsibility. You see that as an opportunity for growth. And then you give your very best every single day to you and the people around you to make it the best possible experience as possible. And that's what Coach Belichick did for me.
You were a great leader in the locker room, of course, in the field. I know this is difficult to explain, but how can you build a winning team the way you did it? Well, you and Coach Belichick and
sure.
A lot of people. No?
You know, winning in sports, as we all know, is very difficult. There's two teams, everybody wants to win. Fans want to win on one side, the other fans on the other. The coaches and the coaches, the players and the players. So what separates one team from winning and one team from losing? Well, on one particular day, it's whoever plays the best. That's the simple answer. Over the course of a long season, in my opinion, it's the team that does the most things right over a long period of time that involve a lot of different decisions, physically, mentally, and emotionally. How do we get the best out of our players? How do we get the best out of our team? If we're going to get the best out of our team, what do we need to do physically in order to be prepared to win? What do we need to practice? How do we need to train? What do we need to eat? How do we need to hydrate ourselves? What are the things that we need to do to practice in order to get better? Mentally, what are the tactics we need to implement in order to beat the other team? Where can we gain our advantage on the field tactically? And then emotionally, how can we bring our best every single day without crazy volatility of emotion? One day I'm really happy because things went great for me. One day I'm really sad because they didn't. How do you find people and performers that can perform their best physically, mentally, emotionally? That's really what I've learned. And when I reflect back on a lot of the players that I played with, the great players, they were really good in all three of those areas. Some of the ones that were maybe best physically had really crazy emotional volatility for different reasons. They didn't end up maximizing their potential. A few of the best players I ever played with, in my mind, didn't maximize their true opportunity. Did they have great careers? Absolutely. Could they have been even maybe a little bit better? Absolutely. So a lot of it is we have to have the right humility to understand that we're not good at everything. We don't have all the answers to everything all the time. We have to be curious to go out and ask people who do have more information and knowledge, what do I need to do to get better? What are the things I need to do to improve on? Is that a physical thing? Do I need to be a little stronger, a little faster? Do I need to be more prepared for practice the next day? Do I need to study a little bit harder? Do I need to spend more time with my coach? Do I need to diagram the plays by myself at 9 o'clock at night? And then how do I make sure that when I come to work every day, I have the right attitude for success, not for mediocrity? There's a lot of guys that show up, and I'm sure you guys are familiar with probably a lot of people that you work with. They show up and they punch the clock. And they think that just showing up is good enough. Well, showing up and being in attendance is important, but that's just a prerequisite for the job. You showing up with the right energy and the right enthusiasm and the right belief in the team and your teammates, that's what's going to allow you to succeed. So why was I fortunate to be a part of a lot more wins than losses? Because we did a lot of those things the right way. We had the right teammates who had the right beliefs in one another. We cared about each other. We cared about what we were trying to accomplish. And when you do those things, it's easy to beat the competition when they care about themselves, when they care about themselves as individuals, when they care about their own statistics, when they care about their own personal agenda more than the team. And I loved playing against teams where that was their focus. And that's part of the culture of those teams. And the teams that lose a lot, that's what you find. You don't find teamwork. Like I said, nothing in life is accomplished as an individual. If I was going to accomplish a lot of things as a quarterback, I needed a lot of other people to do their job the right way. They had to show up. I couldn't block anybody. I tried. It was embarrassing. I couldn't catch a pass. I tried in the Super Bowl and I dropped it. So I couldn't run the ball. I was probably one of the worst runners in the history of the NFL. But what I could do, I did well. And I needed a lot of other people to do the things that they did well. I didn't care how well the receiver could throw the ball. I could throw the ball. And the receiver didn't care how well I could run a route because he could run a route. So when I thought about teamwork, I think about how do we build a great group of players that are all do their job in the best possible way. And they know what their job is. And they bring the right attitude every single day to work. And they're there to accomplish the team goal, not the individual goal. So that's why we won, and that's why we all have the opportunity to win.
And Tom, how do you deal with pressure? Playing in front of thousands of fans. Everybody wants to beat Tom Brady. How do you deal with that pressure?
And I wanted to beat everybody else. I remember when I was the 199th pick, what that felt like when every single team passed me up. And I knew that, and when I met Robert Kraft the first time, who was the owner of the Patriots, I told him, I said, you're never gonna regret picking me. Because I did have a chip on my shoulder. And I was prepared when I ultimately got to the Patriots to go out there and compete very hard. I wanted to go prove myself right, that I belonged, and I wanted to prove my teammates right, that they could believe in me. So every time I took the field, I was there to try to go out there and compete. And I put a lot of pressure on myself to be able to do that. And I learned that really in college. College was from the age of 18 to 21, a lot of people were there for school. I was probably there a little bit more for football than for school. And I had a good time because I was a college kid, and that's a great time for all of us in our life when we're at the university. So I had a great opportunity to go to a very competitive college. It was a great school, the University of Michigan. We had a great football team, a lot like they do this year. And there were a lot of other guys to compete against. And there was a lot of pressure on me to succeed in practice, because if I didn't succeed in practice, I didn't think they were gonna let me play in the game. Even when I won the starting position in my 4th year in college, there was another young player that was very good. He was ambitious. And I had to prove to the coaches every day that I was gonna be the best I could be. So what did I do? I showed up every day and I tried to put pressure on everybody else. I tried to put pressure on them to perform at a high level, which of course forced me to perform at a high level. I couldn't expect me to push someone to their limits if I wasn't pushing myself to the limits. So I only believed that I could ask of a teammate what I was willing to do myself. And I wanted to be a great example for the team. So if I was gonna make sure that in practice, we treated a particular drill like it was the game, I was gonna put a lot of pressure on them. I was gonna get fired. Let's go! We gotta perform. We gotta go make it. And I treated that like, in practice, like it was a game. So by the time I got to the game, I already had done the dress rehearsal. A lot of athletes, they coast through practice. They want practice easy. They don't want coach to make it hard on them. They want coach to make it easy so they can punch the clock, they can do their job because they have some skill, and they can go home. And they can go on with their life and talents and gifts. And I think you guys probably look at me and go, God, you were born and you were a natural. You just must have been so easy for you. When I didn't start playing football until I was 14 years old. I played on the street with my friends, but I didn't play any organized football until I was 14 years old. I didn't even know how to put the pads in my pants when I started playing. There were kids that walked out to the practice field my freshman year, and they were bigger, faster, stronger, more athletic. They had played football. They didn't even, I played on a team in my freshman year in high school. We did not win a game. We were 0 wins, 7 losses. And they didn't even play me. I was the number 2 quarterback on that team. So not only did we not win, they didn't even think I was good enough to put in on a team that didn't win a game. That's pretty bad. But moments and experiences like that made me appreciate when we did win. And they made me appreciate when my second year in high school, I got to be the starting quarterback on the number 2 team, on the second level team. And I developed a love of the game. In my third year, I was the starting quarterback on varsity, and I continued to work hard. And how did I do it? I developed different traits that maybe because I wasn't the phenom, because I wasn't the kid who was the kid who was supposed to succeed, I had to develop a lot of other traits, like discipline, like determination, like resilience. Because I had to have resilience, because every day I went out to practice, I tried my best and I failed. So what did that teach me? Should I quit, or should I try to work harder? So when it didn't go well, I worked harder, and the next day I went out there and I did a little bit better. Was it great? Probably not when I started. But it was better than the day before. And I was like, all right, I'm having fun playing, all my buddies are playing, I'm gonna keep trying hard. And the next day I went out, and I was a little bit better. And I realized that I didn't have the chance to sit back and let my skill take over. I had to go do a lot of other things that a lot of other guys weren't willing to do. I had to work harder, I had to wake up earlier. I had to focus more on what the things I needed to do to improve, if I was ever gonna catch those kids that were a lot better than me at the time. So what did that teach me? Even through all my failures, they taught me to get your ass up off the ground and be better the next day. Because nothing we try at the beginning is going to be easy. We've only tried it maybe one time. I tried to speak Spanish. It's terrible. But I promise you, if I tried every day, I'd get a little bit better and a little bit better and a little bit better, because that would be something I would value. I loved working. I loved working hard. I loved being around my teammates. I loved the team sport. I loved playing football, so I wanted to work at it. And every day I made it a little bit better. I made it to be good enough to be recruited to go to university. And when I did that, when I went to the University of Michigan, I was the number 7 quarterback on the team. There were 6 other players ahead of me when I got there. And they were the best athletes in the United States. They were great players from all different parts, and they were way better than me. But a lot like high school, what did I do? I started to work a little harder every day. Every day I worked a little bit more. If everyone went in 5 minutes after practice, I stayed 20 minutes after practice and worked on the things I needed to do. If guys were in the film room studying film, and they watched for an hour, I was gonna watch for an hour and a half. And every day I was gaining ground on, every single day. And I did pretty well. I ultimately, in my 4th and 5th year, I started for the University of Michigan. But it was because of my failures. It was because of the things that didn't go well. It was because of the moments that I was looking up at everyone else who was playing and getting the opportunities that I wasn't getting. But I wasn't complaining about those things. I wasn't being a victim that no one's giving me a chance. I had an amazing guy come into my life in college named Greg Harden. He was a psychologist. And in my 2nd year, I was frustrated because I wasn't getting a lot of chances. And then he said, Tommy, focus on what you can control. Quit worrying about what everyone else is doing. Quit worrying about the number 1 quarterback, the 2 quarterback, the 3 quarterback, the 4 quarterback. Worry about Tom Brady. Worry about yourself. Worry about on what your attitude is. When you get the opportunity in practice, go out there and show your teammates that you're excited about it. And then when you get that, do something good. If they call a pass, complete the pass. If they give you the 1 or 2 plays to run, pick the right play to run. And I went home at night and I said, okay, I'm gonna show up with energy, enthusiasm, pick the right place, and when they throw a pass, I'm gonna complete it. And sure enough, that little switch in my attitude, the next day I showed up with that energy, enthusiasm, and I started completing passes. And the more I did that, the more the coaches gave me a little more opportunity. They give me a little more the next day, and a little more the next day. And I really learned to compete and be resilient against a lot of other people that had more skill than me. But one thing they didn't have, they didn't try harder than me. I tried really hard. Even if I sucked, I tried hard. So finally, I got good enough where I was considered an NFL draft choice. And they selected me, the New England Patriots, in the 6th round. So what they didn't know about me, they knew some things, and there was a video where they bring us to an NFL combine and they make us run and jump. And don't look that up on YouTube. It was a bad performance by me. But that wasn't my skill set. What they couldn't measure what was inside of me. What they couldn't measure was all those years that I had developed other tools that were gonna help me in my career. Those other tools about toughness, resilience, determination, competitiveness, all those things I knew that I had when I took and got my opportunity in the NFL. So when I said to Mr. Kraft, "You're never gonna regret picking me," he probably looked like I was crazy. He was like, the 6th round pick from Michigan, you could be gone tomorrow. But I knew that I was gonna work just like I did in high school and just like I did in college to be the best I could be. In my first year in the Patriots, I was the 4th string quarterback. A lot like I was in college, a lot like I was in high school. Every day in practice, my first year, I got a little bit better. If I didn't play on Sunday, which I didn't, I went out before the game and pretended like I played. Threw passes, worked out hard, pretended like I was gonna play, and then they sent me up to the stands and let me watch in the stadium. Then in my 2nd year, I got my chance. And unfortunately, the quarterback who was playing, he got hurt, but he came off the field after an injury. And I always said, if they ever put me on the field, they're never gonna take me off. And never did they take me off many years later. So I think the best part about that for me when I think about my story is I'm sure a lot of you guys can relate to that story. A lot of you men and women, children, look at yourself in the mirror every day and you might be an underdog. Or you know what? You might be the favorite. And if you're the favorite, let me tell you, there's a lot of underdogs that are trying to come out and be better than you. So you better understand that. And you better be willing to compete and show up. Think about your teammates, your coworkers. And if you're an underdog, you better work hard because there's a reason why you're there, because you're not good enough yet, and that's okay. It's okay not to be great at it. What's worse is to quit. What's worse is to not even give yourself a chance to succeed. If I had listened to all the people in my life tell me that I couldn't be an NFL player, I never would have been an NFL player. I wouldn't be sitting here with you guys today. So I had great parents that supported me, sisters that supported me, teammates, a lot of people over the course of my life that supported me. You guys have the same thing. You have that opportunity too. We all have the dream that we get to chase. And wherever you're at in your life, you get a chance to wake up the next day and do something about it. And you get to go either inspire someone else to do it or be inspired by someone else to wake up the next day and be a little bit better.
At any point of your career, you had any thoughts of quitting?
I didn't see myself like that. I think, well, there was another part of me that was probably pretty good, where I was blessed with, and I don't know how to say this in Spanish, but in English, to be very naive. To be naive is you don't necessarily know how challenging something is. You go into something, and of course I thought I would be an NFL player. Why wouldn't I? And then everyone else from the outside looking in was like, of course, that's almost impossible. You should probably think about, when I was in high school, my college counselor, so when you're in high school, you have a counselor who kind of guides you through the application process to college. And I told my college counselor, he's like, Tom, we gotta fill out applications for you to go to college. And I was like, what are you talking about? I'm getting a scholarship. And he was like, no, you're not. We're gonna fill out applications. And I was like, Coach, I'm gonna get a scholarship. So I didn't necessarily know how challenging it was. I'm sure a lot of people who have had a lot of success in this room, when they look back, of course they had a lot of belief in themselves. But if they look back, they probably go, God, that was really hard. I don't know if I would encourage my child to do that. You know, because when you accomplish something like that, when you accomplish something greater, you build something greater, you work hard at something, you probably didn't think that in your life, that, wow, you'd be sitting here today. And you say, God, it took a lot of hard work. It took a lot of, you know, showing up to the right events and work and being prepared and all those aspects that allow all of us to achieve a little bit more in life. When we look back, we go, yeah, that was hard. But in the end, it was worth it. A lot of things in life are hard, but they're very hard in life. Relationships are hard. Winning is hard. Losing is hard. A job is hard. Not having a job is hard. Having kids is hard. Not having kids is hard.
Yeah.
There's a lot of things in life that are hard. So that's just the reality of life. What can we do about it? We can wake up every day and go try to live our dream. We have one life. We should wake up every day and try to go out there and make the most of it.
Do you like, Tom, do you like to be called the GOAT?
So, the answer is no, I don't. And I think for me it's just, I never had any real attachment to that. I never wanted to be better than anyone else. All I wanted to be was the best I could be. I wanted my team to beat the other teams, that's for sure. But I never thought about, hey, I want to be better than Peyton Manning. I want to be better than Brett Favre. Those guys were incredible. Those guys were unbelievable. They were so talented. I learned so much from those guys. I wanted to be the best I could be. After every season, you know what I did? I studied Peyton Manning because he was the guy that I looked up to. He was my arch rival. He was my nemesis. He was the guy that always kept me and our team from going to where we wanted to go. But you know what I did? I studied him because I thought he was so great. And he was so great that every play I watched, I tried to look at their plays, see how they were running plays, and try to bring them into our offense because they were so prolific. I looked at all the great players around the league and the quarterbacks. I tried to learn something from them. So we're never too old to learn. Even when I got to be an old quarterback, I still looked at a lot of young players, even though I couldn't do a lot of the things they were doing, but I tried to do some of the things that they would. I tried to throw the ball a little more like Aaron Rodgers. I tried to drop down and throw that sidearm delivery my last few years a little bit like Patrick Mahomes. So we can all learn from people a little older or a little younger. We never stop learning, and we try to, like I said, for me it was always about going out there and be the best I could be. And being the best I could be was to understand that what I knew was very limited, and what I didn't know was limitless. There was no end to what I didn't know. I don't know a lot of things in life. I don't know a lot about a lot of things. I know a little bit about a few things. So when I come here to a place like Mexico, and when I see people in their culture, I'm trying to learn. I'm trying to embrace the spirit. What can someone teach me? So, it's so sweet. Thank you. Oh, I love you too. Thank you.
You talk about the comeback in the Super Bowl against Atlanta.
Yeah.
But what's the biggest game of your life? The most important? You won 7 Super Bowls. You have a lot of big wins.
Yeah.
Which one? Do you have one in the special?
One special win. There's a lot of special games. I would say the most special win for me was I don't know if I don't want to put them in order. Maybe my last game in college was pretty important to me. I had worked really hard over 5 years to be the starting quarterback. We played in the Orange Bowl against Alabama. I was at the University of Michigan. And that game really gave me a lot of confidence. We were losing in that game 14-0 to one of the great teams, and we tied it up 14-14. And then in the second half, we were behind 28-14, again by another 14 points. And we came back and tied it. A lot of the times, like what you saw me do professionally, we tied it up 28-28. And we went to overtime, and I threw a touchdown pass to win. And at that moment, I really had great belief in myself. You know, we can have great belief in ourselves if we build something, if we do something. It's hard to have a great belief in ourselves if we don't do that. That's why we got to push ourselves. And then I think the fear of failure sometimes limits us from wanting to achieve things and wanting to try something different because we're worried what we might think, what people might think, our parents might think, our friends might think if things don't go well. So I think for me, it's hard on TV to hide. You know, when you're out there and you're playing in front of millions of people, everything you do is on display. You know, good, bad, not so good. There'd be a lot of bad words I'd say up there. That was just part of the sport. But you can't hide. And I think when you can't hide, you learn to develop no fear. And I had no fear that, okay, if I was going to lose, I was going to give my best, and I was going to wake up and, yeah, I was going to be sad. I was going to be disappointed. I was going to wake up the next day and not feel great. I wish we would have won it. I wish we always would have won, but that's not sports. So that game in college really gave me a certain belief in myself that, okay, I can go do this in the pros, and I can do this against really great competition in the biggest games. So that was one that really springboarded my professional career. And then in the pro sports, there was a lot of great games. There was a lot of great moments. And I can't name just one because you would think the Super Bowls, yeah, those were great. There were some other championship games that I was a part of, but those all are great for different reasons because they all taught me something a little bit different.
Are you ready, Tom? Are you ready for the booth?
Am I ready to be a broadcaster?
Yeah.
I have a little time, and this is, again, I think what am I going to do that? I'm going to try to approach it a lot like I approached my last job. So with everything I have, I'm going to try to seek out the best people that I know. I start broadcasting for Fox Sports next year, and it's a very exciting thing for me because really I get to continue to be involved in football, and I get to cover a sport that I've loved for really my entire life. So to be on television, to be able to explain a lot of things that are happening that people may see, people may not see. I want to be able to bring some entertainment to you guys, as well as a little education about, in my mind, how the game went, or how the game was going, or what decisions were being made, or what decisions could have been made to impact the outcome of the game. So I definitely have some learning to do, but I'm looking forward to going out there and really building that.
Great. So how do you deal with being a superstar, famous in a lot of countries, and being a father? How you can combine that?
Well, like most of our kids, they don't think we're very cool at all. You know, when they see me, I'm dad, and then when they see Dwayne Johnson, I mean, he's the Rock. When they see I don't know how many kids at 13, but Mr. Beast. You guys heard of Mr. Beast?
Yeah!
Okay, so that's like the stars of my house. I'm just dad. Like, get out of here, dad. Stop bothering me. Stop telling me to clean my room. So I think for me, there's no greater joy in my life than being a parent. And I've been very fortunate. I have amazing children, and they teach me a lot too. So they've been great, just unbelievable for me in my life and what they've meant to me. And we all face challenges, and sometimes you think you're there for your kids, and your kids are there for you. And they pick you up when you need it, and you pick them up when they need it. And I love being a parent, and at this point, I don't really care what I did in the past in terms of playing sports and all that. And they don't see me like that. They just see me as dad. They want to see me be involved in their life, and they want to see me care about the things they're doing. And that's what I want to do. I want to spend as much time with them as I can, even though they don't want to spend much time with me anymore. But I'm trying. I'm trying to do fun things with them to make sure that they stick around their dad for as long as possible.
And come, finally, to all these people who love you, you have to say something about, I don't know, Mexico, your fans in Mexico, whatever you want.
Well, thank you very much, obviously, and it's an incredible opportunity for me to be here with you guys, to travel from the United States. I love this country. I spent a lot of great moments in this country. I know the kind of fans that are down here and how passionate you guys are about your community and how passionate you are about your sports. And when they asked me to come here, I thought it was a great chance for me to come and see you guys. You know, you supported me over the course of my whole career. I met so many people backstage that I got to give a hug to and to say thank you for supporting me, because the commitment that you give to us, and that's all we want to do. We wanted to give it back. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to travel here and to give you a little bit of insight into the things that have happened in my life that allowed me to achieve my dreams. And if there's any hope that I have for you guys in your life, and I don't care how old you are, we're all living still. And the fact that we woke up today, we got a chance to do something about our own lives. And what are we going to make of it? How are we going to impact people? Are we going to do it in a positive way? Are we going to build people up, or are we going to tear people down? Are we going to support our neighbor, or are we going to compete against them? Are we going to be the best we can be, or are we going to settle for a little bit less? We all get those choices. And hopefully, with a few words of inspiration for me, that might motivate you at different times where you're not quite sure which path you want to choose. Maybe you want to choose a path that might be a little bit easier on that day. And yeah, that's okay. That's okay. I do that every once in a while too. But what do we appreciate in life? I believe we appreciate in life the things that are hard, because there's more value in things that are hard. Taking the easy way out, quitting, moving on when it's a piece of cake, not digging deep, that's easy. You may choose that, but you may be missing out on what you really might value. So hopefully you can understand what the values you have and what you possess, what they mean to you in your life, and ultimately how you can be the best for yourself, number one, and then for the people around you. And I wish you all the best of luck. Thank you.